My name is Walter Cox, Fire Chief of the Town of Colchester. Approximately just after 9 a.m. this morning, we had a residential propane delivery tank truck lose control and roll over. Right now it's on its driver's side. The driver self-extricated and was transported to the Marlboro Clinic with non-life-threatening injuries. There are no other injuries to report at this time. This propane tank has approximately 3,000 gallons of propane on it. We had 2 leaks coming from the underneath that we had to deal with. Colchester and Salem fire departments were the first fire departments on the scene. We had established water supply for water stream suppression to keep the vapors down. Other fire departments that have responded to the scene are Gardner Lake Fire Department, Basra, Marlboro, Hebron, East Hampton, Lyme, East Haddam, and Yantic. The technicians on scene successfully blocked one of the leaks. The other leak is not completely blocked, so it is still leaking propane gas. We have established a perimeter of 330 feet and a circumference around the incident. West Road is closed for about a quarter of a mile. This incident occurred in the area of number 359 West Road, which is by Woodbine Circle. On scene this morning also is the state police, Deep, a representative from Osterman, who was the name of the propane delivery truck, along with Colchester's fire marshal and EMD. So right now I'd like to turn the conference over to Jeff Chandler, who is the supervising technician for Deep. Jeff?
Hello, Jeff Chandler, CHANDLER, Supervisor, Connecticut DEP Emergency Response Unit. So at this point we had stopped one leak completely with DEP hazmat technicians as well as a hazmat technician from Salem Fire Department. The second leak has been significantly reduced. It's down to about 25% of the original release rate, and we're going to be working with Osterman Propane, the owner of the truck, to offload the product and transfer it into another receiving tanker. This is going to be a very lengthy process given the orientation of the truck and the way that we have to move the propane out of the back of the barrel of the truck. Do you have any questions? At this point, I can't give you an estimate until we determine what pumps show up on scene and what their gallon per minute rate is.
Can you talk more about the evacuations?
I'll leave that up to the chief.
There's a lot of water being shuttled in. Is there a fire of any kind?
There's no fire at this point. We use it to disperse the vapors of propane. But propane vapors are heavier than air, so they settle in low-lying areas. And when you're flowing a water stream, it helps to disperse those vapors by entraining a lot of air into that area. So they will be working with the fire departments to ensure that the surrounding areas, the basements, low-lying areas, and the topography are metered to make sure that there's no accumulation of propane vapors that could be hazardous.
Mr. Chandler, the 2 leaks that you're securing, are they nozzles that were offset because of the overturn, or not a puncture?
It's not a puncture. There is a fitting on the bottom of the tank that was severed during the rollover. The direction of flow from one side of that fitting and the hose, we managed to successfully stop that. The portion that's still actually permanently attached to the bottom of the tank, the way that the brass fitting broke, and where its proximity on the tank is directly behind a frame rail, so it's really hard for us to access that point. And we have used wooden wedges to slow the flow of the liquid propane out of the bottom of the truck.
Vehicle?
It was just shy of fully loaded, yeah. Any other questions for me?
Had it just finished making a delivery, or was it about to make a delivery?
I don't know.
The name of the propane company again?
Osterman Propane, and they're out of Plainfield, Connecticut.
Chief Cox, can you talk about evacuations immediate area?
Right. When this initially happened, we checked the residents, and several of them were not home. There were some people out in the street, and we advised them to get back in their house. So we're continuing our metering of our perimeter, which, like I said, is 330 feet in all directions around the incident. And we're going to stick with the shelter-in-place mode right now, so there are no evacuations. This section of road, as Jeff Chandler mentioned, is going to be closed for quite some time due to the offloading of the product.
Did this accident happen on Woodbine or on West Road?
It actually happened on West Road in the area 359 residential property, which is adjacent to Woodbine Circle.
Close to the Salem town line?
Yes.
So it's down past that yellow truck, or is it down?
Yes, it is. It's about a quarter mile down from there. And Salem Fire Department was the first to arrive from the other end of the road, and they secured and shut that road down.
So we're late to the party, so
Yep.
I don't know if you want me to just pull you aside.
Okay, I'll do that. Sure.
So no one has been evacuated from their home?
Correct. The residents we did check, they weren't home, so they obviously left for work or away from the house. And those that were out in the street, we asked them to go back into their house and were sheltering in place. So no evacuations.
So the tanker truck, just to clarify, lost control. Or
Lost control and ended up on its driver's side, on the opposite side of the road. So it was traveling in this direction here, lost control of the vehicle and went over to the opposite side and landed on its driver's side.
Did it collide with anything?
No, it did not.
Okay.
There's some reports of another vehicle involved, but that's under investigation. I'm not positive on that. But the driver, minor injuries, transported to Marlboro Clinic, and he was able to self-extricate prior to our arrival. So he was out of the vehicle. Pardon me?
What time was this?
This is approximately 9:09 this morning, so 9 minutes after 9 a.m. So we've been on scene for a little over 2 hours.
There's still no timeline on this.
No, the offloading is probably a long process to do it safely. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.